start the recording and say welcome to this next session on the symposium on data for quality assurance. And I'm going to pass it off to you and your team and let you guys go. Welcome.
Sounds good. I'll get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session titled Pathway to Excellence, Data-Driven Approach to Faculty Development and QM Implementation. So before we begin, I'd like to introduce ourselves and our co-presenters. My name is Mingli Xiao. I'm serving as the Associate Director of Instructional Design and Development at the University of Toledo. So my primary role involves overseeing the daily work of instructional designers and multimedia designers. And I'm also heavily involved in designing and delivering faculty development workshops and best practices for online teaching and course design. Joining me today are Dr. Lei Song, who's an assistive technologist specialist and an instructional designer. She's responsible for ensuring all of our online courses are accessible. And we're also joined by Rachel Barnes, and she's the lead instructional designer and the quality matter assurance coordinator. Rachel manages our official QM certification for the entire university, in addition to her instructional design duties. So both of these remarkable individuals are essential to they are team players, and they contribute significantly to our success for our daily online learning operations. Thank them for joining me today. I'd like to give a little bit my background about our Toledo Online. And so we basically support blended learning and online learning across the whole entire university community. Our teams is composed of instructional designers, multimedia designers, and educational technologists, help desk staff, and also system administrators. Probably sounds very similar to every other institution, I guess. So currently we're supporting over 1,800 online course sessions annually. So we have, we're a very big, large, online courses, I would say, yeah. We take the pride in being a model department. So we received the Blackboard Catalyst Award for training and professional development in 2022. In addition, we also were honored with the 2022 Quality Matters Award, making a difference for students. Outstanding impact by U.S. higher education organization. So given by QM. So we're very excited being here and share our experience with our faculty development program. Okay, so learning objectives, we couldn't escape that as instructional designers. So during today's session, we will explore a data-driven approach to enhancing faculty development program. And we will dive into the challenges and the benefits on utilizing data in decision-making, and discuss strategies for integrating faculty development initiatives within the quality matter framework. So our goal is to provide actionable takeaways and the best practices so that you can adopt use to evaluate your faculty development programs and also refine your QM implementation strategies in your institution. I think it would be just good to give a little bit introduction to our Pathway program. So our Pathway program, the full name is the Pathway to Master Online Instructor. So we, abbreviate as a Pathway. So the program offers a series of free professional development courses for Toledo Online faculty members and also teaching assistants. Sorry, happened, just pushed too much button. Oh gosh, where do I go? technology. Okay. So on the screen, you can see we have 5 courses, 3 courses like in the light green design. I don't know what's happened, why it's just automatically changed to the next slide. So the 3 courses, online teaching certificate, online course design certificate, and ADA compliance and online courses are designed by our department. And these 3 courses are all QM certified. The other 2 program courses in the program are APP QMR and also the PRC, the peer review courses. Upon completion of the courses, and faculty will just grant a certificate as a master online instructor. So this is basically about, we will give a little bit more detail about each courses. So today our focus is really, on how we use a data-driven approach to improve the 3 in-house courses. So when we mention the data-driven approach, we're really referring to our practices of collecting both qualitative and quantitative data to inform, to guide, and improve the effectiveness of our professional development. So this approach helps us in understanding the faculty needs and facilitating evidence-based decision-making and supporting continuous improvement, and also provide a transparent and measurable ways to evaluate the efficacy of our program. So I'm now going to pass the floor to Rachel, so she will give a brief introduction about how we collect data and the data process. Rachel, your call.
All right. Thank you, Mingli. Yep, there we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Barnes, as Mingli mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. So first, I want to talk about different ways that we collect data. So on this slide here, oops, one more. There we go. These are all basically the avenues from where we collect data from these courses and use that data to improve upon the courses. Mingli, is there maybe a setting on like how many seconds a slide displays possibly that's doing that? So the first 2 there, course design evaluations and teaching evaluations. Each course in our program that we've designed, so the 3 in-house courses, online teaching certificate, online course design certificate, and the ADA compliance course, they all have 2 different forms of evaluations at the end of the course. One focuses on the course design. So obviously the way that we can gather feedback and use that to improve upon the design. It also helps us, one of the questions has to do with whether the students feel like they've achieved the objectives. And then the teaching evaluation, so we can get feedback on our facilitation and use that to improve upon how we facilitate. The third is self-reflections. Each of these courses have different types of activities that allow the participants to reflect. And that gives us a lot of good information as well. Each course has several discussions. And the prompts in those discussions often focus on the learner's experiences and sharing their perspectives, and then other informal feedback. So a lot of times we'll get just emails or, talk with the participants and they share some informal feedback with us. So these are all the ways that we collect data that we use to improve upon this program. I'll go ahead to the next slide. So the first course that we're going to talk about, give a little background information, is our online teaching certificate. And whoops, one more back. So this is a 2-week online course. It's an accelerated course, and it had previously been 4 weeks, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. In this course, it's basically their introduction to teaching online. Participants learn to effectively facilitate teaching and learning in an online environment. There's discussion, some collaboration among participants, and self-reflection, like I mentioned. And in this course, learners practice using online communication and assessment tools. And it's also just a great way for faculty to experience an online course as a student. Many have shared that this has been their first experience in an online course as a student. So taking online teaching certificate and even the other courses, although most participants take this one first, is a good way for them to get the experience as a student and kind of think about things from their learner's perspective a little bit more. And this course is a prerequisite for taking the online course design certificate, which we will talk about after this. Go ahead and go to the next slide if you wouldn't mind. So here's some information based on those ways that we collect data. So, whoops, back one more. So on the left there, the course completion rate, the number of participants, and overall satisfaction rate. The course was significantly redesigned in 2020. And that's when we moved from the 4-week course to the 2-week course. You know, from the pandemic, I'm sure all of you had that experience of pushing out faculty development and trainings and things to get more people on board with facilitating online learning. So before the redesign, that was 2013 through March 2020. And then after the major redesign, that's been since March 2020 till now, you'll see that the course completion rate is the same, which is good. Let's see, I'm going to my notes here. But it's important to note, if you look at the number of participants completed, that we had more people, completing the course in the past 3 years than we did in the 7 years prior to that. So that is an important thing to note about this. So we held many, many sessions in 2020 and 2021. And so that also makes a difference with the statistics here. And the satisfaction rate, that was calculated based on a couple of the questions on our course design evaluation. And it's still pretty high in the before the redesign, but it's even better in the after, based on some of the changes that we made, which I will talk about in the next slide, if you want to advance, Mingli. So based on the feedback that we received, there was a preference from faculty for some shorter courses. So even though the completion rate was pretty good beforehand, just anecdotally, and when the pandemic happened, the faculty preferred to take a shorter course so they could get through the content quicker, implement things quicker. So that was the main focus of our redesigning to a 2-week course. Also, the content in the course really, initially when it was designed in 2013, focused on asynchronous online learning only. And with the pandemic and with the needs of the faculty, a lot of faculty wanted more information on how to successfully facilitate synchronous online sessions. So we added a new learning activity and an assessment where the learners learn a little more about best practices and for facilitating synchronous online sessions. And also in the 4-week version of the course, activities were very discussion heavy. There was one of the weeks, I think, with the introduction, there was 3 discussion boards. So we reduced the number of discussions per week and kind of tried to think about other ways that we can have the learners interact without having quite so many discussion boards. So we've used informal feedback from the participants also to add some additional updates and resources, add some more recent articles, and based on the facilitator, the teaching evaluations, we've used that feedback to improve upon our facilitation strategies. We're doing more with posting like video announcements and making sure that we are really upping our instructor presence in the courses as well. And then I will hand it over back to Mingli to talk about the online course design certificate.
Sorry about like the slides, the setting. I think it was automatic. It goes to next one. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Okay. Oh, sorry, it does happen. I'm so sorry. Okay. So the online course design certificate. So originally it was designed as for 8 weeks, and we also redesigned for 4 weeks. And the objective is to learn to effectively design the learning objectives, instructional materials, active learning activities, assessment using rubric. And so during the course, the 4-week or 8-week courses, participants are supposed to develop a capstone projects. Basically, it's a complete module that they can just readily use in their online courses. They also practice, they create like the overall, the navigation of the course, the Xiao. So I'm going to talk a little bit like how it has been like I'm going to show the result and then just discuss what we changed and what we did. Yeah. So you can see that the course was initially designed in 2015 and then was redesigned in 2020 during the pandemic. So our course completion rate, again, we count the numbers of enrollments and also the numbers who completed. It's very much significant improvement in compared with the original one and the redesigned one. So the number of completion, you can see doubled just within, the 22 to 2020, the year of 2020, and in compare with the 5-year span. And overall satisfaction rate is very high. I think even before the redesign, that just really happened with, the facilitators, and the course was like a QM certified even before the redesign. And so you can see after the redesign, there's a significant improvement in our overall satisfaction rate. I'm going to show in the slides what changes we have made. The original course, we used the travel topic, as design concept. So we have 8 modules, and during the last 8 modules runs very long, and feedback from faculty mentioned that this is too long. You can see from the completion rate, lots of people could not stay, and just scheduling the session was a very big problem. So if we schedule it in the fall semester, with 2 breaks, fall breaks, lots of vacations, holidays, it's hard for them to finish. And then for spring, we tried again, it's not good, time. And then we eventually changed into summer. So that's really reduced, the sessions we can offer. And based on the low completion rate, and also based on the faculty, feedback from across the design evaluation, teaching evaluation, we redesigned it to a 4-week course and during the pandemic. So basically what we did is how we reduced the load. We removed lots of unnecessary discussions, peer interaction, because we want to tailor this course as a badge course. So participants will get a badge after they completed. So basically, it's more hands-on practices that's what we focus on. So we remove discussions like the big rubric debate and your active learning experience in any courses. So those distracting elements. And then we also, the other thing we did is we found out an initial 8-week course, we asked peer review, peer critique. And so that each participant have access to other people's sandbox and make comments. We found out that this approach really was dragging, and also because lots of participants, they don't have any experience in teaching online, and also design online courses. Sometimes the feedback was not necessarily very constructive or on the the right track. So that's why we, remove that activity. And so we can focus more like a feedback from the facilitator. And if we follow like kind of a mentoring model. So each participant was given very like individualized attention. We use a recorded like a video to provide feedback. So we go inside each sandbox, recorded what's going on, provide our suggestions, which proved to be very effective. And the other thing we did, we kind of condensed the learning materials a little bit, and we try to add lecture videos of our own. And also we provide our own like a clear how-to videos in the previous 8-week course, and the step-by-step guide that was written is created by our educational technologists, was not tailored to our course. So sometimes it's really hard. So that's what we did. And doing this really shows a whole lot of more like instructor teaching presence from our end, and the students really, they love that. So if you're interested in learn more about our courses, and during the Q&A session, we can show you what's going on. I think I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Lei Song, and she can talk about the ADA course.
Thank you, Mingli. Hi, I'm Lei Song, and I teach the ADA course at Toledo. And our current version of the ADA compliance and online courses, it was redesigned in 2017 after I started my current position at the University of Toledo. So before the pandemic, this course has a schedule of 5 weeks. So including week 1 for introduction, week 2 focus on Microsoft documents, so how we make Word and PowerPoints accessible. And week 3 focus on the PDF, how PDF can be inaccessible and how we can make them accessible. And week 4 is about multimedia content in the online course. For example, the videos, audios, and sometimes videos that has audio descriptions, and how we create this kind of alternative presentation in transcripts or captions. And the final week, the 5th week, is a wrap-up week. So in that week, we talk about the web accessibility in the context of our own learning management system. So at UT, we use Blackboard. So we teach faculty different techniques, how to check web accessibility, for any website. So in the end, the participants, they are expected to apply what they learned in this course and demonstrate they can use these technical skills in their own Blackboard course. So in the end of course, most of them, they will write up in their reflective summary and post it in the discussion forum or write a journal entry about how they are planning to implement these new skills to make their course accessible. So after the pandemic, of course, because the demand of online training, so we restructured the course content into 3 weeks, but most of the content remained the same as the 5 weeks course. So the course topics, including federal laws and federal state regulations, such as ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, as everyone knows here, I assume. So, and also Section 508, 504, and the W3C's guideline for developing online accessible content, which is commonly known as the VCAG 2.0 and 2.1, which is the later version. And we also introduce the new features in Microsoft Documents and in Adobe Acrobat Pro, how you can make the document better and accessible. And, they also include caption. So we try to encourage participants to create their own video and then caption them. So at UT, currently we have the Echo 360, which is a media platform. And Echo 360 now, they have the auto captioning feature. Over the past several years, we have seen the captioning feature in all the online platform has gone a long way. In the beginning of this class, almost every participant in my class, they have to manually just captioning their own video verbatim. But recently, the auto captioning has been so good. Most of them just utilize the function and do it in a much easier way. So except the first and the last week, most of the required assignments in this class are actually hands-on projects. So the participants, they need to actually do it. They need to solve the problem. First they have to identify the problem, then they have to solve the problem. And they will be asked to make their own syllabus accessible, in both Word and in PDF. So they also have to remediate, our purposefully designed inaccessible PowerPoint to get, where the problems can be, and then they fix it. And so that class eventually we have some more success than the previous version, before we did the class. Mingli, would you please move to the next slide? Thank you. So the older version we have of this ADA class was also 5 weeks. But the difference was the older version from 2015 and 2016, it was a self-paced course. So there's no instructor facilitating. So people just come and do on their own pace. And sometimes, people just drop off. And based on the data, as we see here, we have a really low course completion rate. So we see a big problem because people enrolled because they have an interest. Then they don't finish at all. They just, they just take it and you're not doing any work, and you cannot find any of them. So we only have 2 people actually complete the course, and we don't have much survey from them about how satisfactory they are because they are gone before the course completed. So we take this information to heart and we actually reinvent the view. So the new version of the ADA course, as the current instructor facilitated course, we do have a fixed timeline. So people have to have a fixed schedule. You have to be paced every week to complete the assignments. And fortunately, this time we actually have people committing to the course and they just finish it. So we reach a completion rate of 95%. That means of almost all the participants who complete the first week, they will just basically go on and finish the rest. So overall satisfaction is also high because we can see that from the evaluations, sometimes the comments, and sometimes even the faculty write in email, just say, oh, I really appreciate this. So, and we appreciate them too. So this is basically the change happening from the older version to the current version of the ADA course. Mingli, next slide, please. Thank you. So how did we use the data to improve this course? So obviously we can see, we started all over because after seeing the really unsatisfactory numbers from the older version, we think we need to learn from it, what mistakes we made. So the older version self-paced course, it was mostly passive learning. So it might give off an impression for the participants like, it was designed from a point of moral authority. It's like ADA compliance, you have to comply because it's the law. And you, as a law-abiding good citizen, you should comply. So this is absolutely true. We all should abide the law. But the thing is, in a faculty training course in higher education, our participants, they are the most sophisticated and the most smart individuals, and they have great critical thinking skills. So this kind of black and white logic thinking, thinking mode, it doesn't really apply to the participants well. So in redesign, I spend quite a lot of time just putting together some real life stories and introducing the culture of disabilities. So in a way that people will see and hear the real individuals with disabilities, their stories in a video. So, so in that way, participants, when they watch these videos, they can relate to their own experience, or they have a disabled child or spouse or parent, or even disability in themselves. So I think this is the kind of the key to motivation, because when people are motivated enough, they can be prepared to do the most tedious technical work, as many of you may be familiar with how tedious the accessibility work can be. So especially when people really understand the background of the of the law of ADA and other legislative purpose. So sometimes we even introduce to them the limitation, the limitation of these laws, of the current regulations. And people understand that and they appreciate that. So with that understanding, I would say almost 100%, everyone is for accessibility. So, when their heart feels the empathy and connection, they really understand the true meaning behind the technical process. So I think that is kind of our change from the older version to the new version of the class. We focus on the motivation, focus on the connection building between the training and the participants. We try to connect to them more. So in the end, they were able to solve the accessibility problems on their own and make their own course handout thereby accessible. So this course, the course data also includes participants, their grades and their evaluations. So we know, when we see their assignments, when we grade them, we know we did something right when everybody hit the target very nicely. So these are the most certificate individuals. So with proper instruction, the participants they never lack in perseverance or excellence. They did a great job. So as in any other courses, we always tweak and change some of the instructions of the assignment to make it even clearer or even straightforward, even just increase the clarity of that. So over the several years, I think we see improvement in that. Next slide, please, Mingli. Thank you. So that was the story of the ATA class in our pathway program, and so now we are going to move on to the overall impact. So how our training courses impact the faculty development at our institution. Now here I will start with the first two, like building community of inquiry and diversity, and then I will pass on the following to Rachel and Mingli. Mingli, next slide, please. Thank you. So as both Mingli and Rachel, they talked about earlier, our courses, they aim to demonstrate the best practices, of online teaching. So we really tried our best to walk it as we talk it. Because everything is changing so rapidly in the online environment, we are, actually we are in here together. So that's what we try to emphasize with faculty, not only between our, instructional designers and the faculty, but also among faculties themselves. So we treat each class as a small community of inquiry where people just come together, discuss ideas, and do things together sometimes. So they learn from our expertise for sure, and they also learn from each other's experiences, and we learn from their stories and insights too. For example, in the online teaching certificate, we teach people about the instructors, social teaching, cognitive presence in the online course, and we actually demonstrate them in our training courses. We also teach them how to create and caption their own introduction videos, and then we teach them how to create their own lecture videos in OCBC. So in the online teaching certificate, we also do the workload management tips, so they can share with each other, and we can also share with them what we learned from literature, from others, from research, how to manage your online workload. Next slide, please. Yeah. So with the ADA course specifically, we especially promote the concept of awareness and the diversity, in people's abilities. So when faculty, they really understand the issue and they learn about the diverse cultures of college population, actually they became the advocates. So also because we focus on the practical training of the skills, and they were equipped with the knowledge and the techniques to become very self-sufficient, to make their own online course accessible. And in that regard, actually, they are very well prepared to meet the quality measure standard 8 in accessibility. So the direct impact here is we do help people to create their quality online courses with accessibility in mind, and we do increase the sense of inclusion among the entire university community. With that, I'm going to turn over to my colleague, Rachel.
Thanks, Lei. I'm going to cover 2 more areas of impact, and I'll try to make it quick since I realize we have about 10 minutes left. So the other area is that this program and the data that we've used to improve it has helped us to facilitate instructors' professional development. There's a little typo here, but there's an increase. Oh, I see it now. An increase in the number of faculty who complete the online faculty development courses. So we've created a free faculty development program that's readily available to help facilitate learning of new ideas and techniques for online learning. You know, some of the ways that we've redesigned these courses into shorter courses has allowed more people to complete them in a timely manner, which has also led to an increase in master online instructors. So those are the people who complete all 5 courses in the program. And because we incorporate the Applying the QM rubric workshop and the peer reviewer course in this program, it helps to increase the number of QM certified peer reviewers and just overall awareness of quality matters at the university. So next slide, please. And then another area is this has helped us to achieve our institutional strategic plan and quality assurance. So this has helped for more faculty awareness of QM. So we've incorporated QM not only because the courses in this program that we've developed are QM certified, but also the concepts and the best practices that we use in these courses are, you know, based on QM standards. That has resulted in more faculty awareness of QM and also more faculty pursuing QM certification of their courses. So 81% of the faculty at the University of Toledo with a QM certified course have taken at least one of the courses in this program. And 14% of the faculty at UT with a QM certified course are master online instructors. So they've completed the entire program. And I will hand it over to Mingli to talk about our last area of impact and then some takeaways.
Thank you, Rachel. Rachel mentioned about the impact to faculty members. And so I'm going to talk about how the increase of QM certified courses impact student learning. So basically in 2022, and when we applied the QM award, we did a university-wise research, a comparative research. What we did is we look into more than, I think that's exactly number is 1,511 course offering sessions of 106 QM certified course. We look at, we analyze, we compare the courses, these courses before they were certified and after certified, and in terms of GPA, students' course GPA, and also the course withdrawal rate, the D's and F, rates. We call it DFW rate. Using the t-test, we collaborate this research with the institutional research division. Our results shows that the course offered after QM certification exhibit really higher GPAs, significantly higher GPAs, and the overall DFW rate is significantly lower in the course that QM certified. So that's really, when we're working with faculty promoting our professional development or a QM certification, they always say, show me the evidence. So we're lucky, we're lucky to, this shows them, we tell the story. So yeah, it's really helpful. And we're just very happy we did that. So next slide, I'm going to just talk a little bit about, what's next, what's our future plan. Are we going to continue, so with our journey using a data-driven approach. So our success with the pathway program shows that the data-driven approach really works. It helps us tailor the professional needs, the unique needs of faculty members. It also helps us to make really just informed decision, moving forward. And we also thinking, that moving forward, we also just reflect what we did, and we're thinking that we didn't, encounter some challenges, besides the benefit. The challenges we have is to obtain data and using technologies. Our survey tools has constantly be changing. We use Enterprise before, we use Blackboard. Now we transform to a Blackboard Ultra. It doesn't even have the survey tools. So that causes a whole lot of just ways for data collecting. So we didn't know we want to have a long-term kind of a plan and have a consistent way. And also our measurements, across these years, about 10 years span, I sometimes change. We have to keep refine our measurements, the questions we ask about. So our teaching evaluation, we design our own teaching evaluation, and then there's university-wise, the provost asks to every instructor using the same teaching evaluation. So we adopt that. So that caused some challenges for us. And moving forward, we also think what we have so far was really far more than enough. We want to, we plan to probably using Kirkpatrick's model and to focus more on the behavior change and outcome results. So we want to maybe create more follow-up surveys to, collect data, on the faculty who complete out the professional development. And so what, after they finish that, what impact, pathway program have? Do they apply some of the strategies in our teaching? And we also want to collect some data from students, like a qualitative data. Exactly, we have we have objective result about GPAs and TWO, the course drop rates, but we also want to have more information. So that's our plan. I'm going to just quickly just talk about the tips and takeaways. So first, we think that model the best practices is essential for our success, because without that, there's no faculty buy-in. So all the courses are QM certified, they will win award. We're facilitating, teaching presence, the social presence in all these courses. And so that's one thing. The other thing, we use a data-driven approach for continuous improvement, also for storytelling, because the data helps us refine and improve, make changes continuously, and from all the resources, the stakeholders, even the facilitators and participants. The other thing, the last thing, we think celebrate success, celebrate faculty's achievements. It's very vital and important, because the faculty taking these courses, professional, they're not required, it's all free. There's no way we can require them to do anything at our institution. Probably you have the same situation, but we're very lucky they all come. And so what we did is we host annual faculty recognition events, recognize people who complete the pathway program, complete the courses, have their course QM certified, and we have a little like celebration and socializing, provide food, so it has been very successful. The other thing we did is whenever we have a QM certified courses or have people complete like a certification course, we send email to their dean and chairs and to inform their and to recognize them. And we also like have put their names. We call it like the Hall of Fame on our website. So anybody who achieve something and their names are showing there. And we also occasionally like write stories about faculty's achievement, and we also like post it on our newsletter, our UT News. And we also sometimes like conduct interview and put it online, so faculty learn from, spread the words, and they learn from their own peers and colleagues. So by doing this, by using this approach, we do like have like the ripple like effects, and the good words spreads like so that's how we do that. I think that's probably just close out we did here, and we did more than that. It's it's hard to talk everything within such like a small period of time. I think it's just even one course can cost us probably an hour to talk about, and I apologize if we didn't cover a whole lot of things. And I'm going to just turn to the next session Q&A if we still have time. Oh, we're over time, so sorry.
It's okay if there's people have questions, we can stay a little bit.
Okay, you can, if you have any questions, just feel free to, unmute yourself, and you can talk, you can. Yeah, I see a lot of good comments there. Do you find that you're? Yeah, the faculty actually, we don't give them money, and it's all free. And I think really it's, we don't give them a whole lot of incentivize, regardless of what we can do, like you recognize on our webpage, email the deans, we have no control for their, like, some of us like, as a first certificate, we do research certificate. And I would say a lot of, participants, especially the TAs, after they finish the program, they found jobs elsewhere. So that's like probably the incentive they get.
I think a lot of word of mouth from, people who took courses early on, talk to other people in their departments. And that's kind of how I think things have spread mostly, since we don't provide like compensation for taking a course or anything like that. But it's all, like Mingli said, it's all free. So they can take it if they want. If they would like to, they can take it for free.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I miss any questions there? So yeah, some of you said you don't provide like incentive, but the number was, was going down. Yeah, that's probably a really big challenge. After we sometimes try to tailor, like try to recruit our faculty members, like especially the new faculty members. We collaborate with the provost office, get their names, send out invitations. That's a one way. We try to reach out more people. Jim, do I have more questions there?
The only other one, any pushback from faculty, but I think you were answering that and how you dealt with it.
Okay.
Other than that, I think I'm
good to go.
I'm going to stop the recording